Hi everyone. It's a little awkward, but this is clearly not a CRZ or a Kona N. It's a Civic. It's not just a Civic though. It's a Civic SI Coupe. So if you guys have watched my previous videos, you might be a little confused because I clearly had a white CRZ and a white Kona N before. This is obviously not either of those cars. I did have a black Civic SI on order, but it was 11th gen, not a 10th gen like this one. And I canceled that order to buy my Kona. So what the heck's the deal with this Civic? So basically what happened is I made some oopsies with my finances. So my first mistake was car shopping at all. I was perfectly happy with my CRZ. It worked just fine. I loved the car. Great. It didn't have any payments. So the smartest thing would have been to keep driving that car, not even bother car shopping and just save up the money. But at the time, my friend got a brand new 22 WRX, and around the same time, the 22 SI came out, and I kind of got caught up in the excitement of things and ordered an SI for myself. And if you have watched my videos on my Kona N, you kind of know the whole drama with the markups and the whole deal with the SI, and that's how I ended up with the Kona. Tonight's my last night with this car. Tomorrow it's getting sold off. So I have most of my stickers off of it. I took the teeth off of it. So tonight is the last night that I'm going to be owning this car. And I love this car quite a lot, so I will miss it a lot. CRZ is a car I've wanted ever since I was in middle school when this thing came out. And I went through a lot of trouble to go find this car. And I really don't want to sell it, but it's just how my life is stacking up to be at the moment. So unfortunately I will be letting it go tomorrow as of the filming of this video. But fortunately it will be going to a friend. So it will be local. I will see it at meets and at events we go to and stuff. So I will be able to see it relatively frequently, and I know it's going to be going to a good home. So that gives me some peace of mind, but still, I'm going to miss this thing quite a lot. This thing is very, very special to me. It was actually in this exact parking lot, a parking garage, that I came to my first meet when I moved into town with this car, and I met a guy with a Boost Blue Civic Type R, and we were going to the same meet, and he noticed my car, really liked it, and invited me to join his little group of Honda friends. And ever since then I've had a wonderful group of friends, and this thing has really changed my life, and it means so much to me. So I love Tofu, I love this car, and unfortunately I guess this is goodbye. But the second mistake was moving on to the Kona, because even though the Kona was a better deal, it was still more money. So I still would have been financially better off just sticking with the SI that I had on order. The third mistake was, regardless of which car I got, the original plan was to sell the CRZ and then put the money from the CRZ into my savings, or use it to pay off the car faster, so I would have less payments. But that didn't end up happening because of sentimental, emotional bullshit. I didn't want to get rid of the CRZ, which should have been a sign that I shouldn't have been car shopping in the first place. But that's what happened, and as a result, I have neither the CRZ or the Kona or the 22SI. So out of those three cars, I don't have any of them. So in that aspect, I kind of lost out. So how this SI came about is I wanted to consolidate my cars. Keeping two cars around is quite pricey, as you would imagine, and I could afford to keep the Kona around and keep the CRZ, but I decided to get rid of that. I decided to consolidate because I wanted a bit more financial freedom, a bit more financial wiggle room. So I thought I would get something that would be a nice combination of both, and the 10th Gen SI Coupe, I thought, fit the bill perfectly. It's as far as Civics go, SI Coupe is kind of a less common variant you'll see. So, and it's also a manual, 2 doors, so kind of kept that CRZ spirit while still being a more performance-oriented enthusiast car similar to the Kona N. So, nice upgrade from the CRZ, not too much of a downgrade from the Kona. I thought it was pretty good. Also, being the 10th gen, at least in the US market, it infamously has more features than the 11th gen SI does also. So that was a little bit of a plus. But taking a bit of an L again is, this is a 2019 SI Coupe, and it was the cheapest 2019 SI Coupe I could find in the state. And I'll get into why I specifically wanted that configuration a little bit later. But even so, it was $24,000, and that's $24,000 before tax, before fees, and it's been in an accident. I'm the third owner and has 60,000 miles. So cosmetically it was kind of rough. Mechanically it was perfectly fine, but 60,000 miles again, which is not too much for the year, but still, that's $24,000 is what the car cost brand new back in 2019. So that's a bit of an oof, but at least I had consolidated. My payments were much less, and I was on my way back to correcting some of my financial oopsies. So as soon as I thought I was on my way to kind of healing my checking account, I got laid off. So finances are very tight right now, which is unfortunate. So hopefully I'll be able to land a new job and kind of finish doing stuff to this, and also finish obviously correcting my previous mistakes. But you can see the car is not completely stock. It has some stuff done to it, because fortunately Civic parts are not too expensive. So before I got laid off, I did manage to do a couple things to it to kind of make it stand out. It's a Civic, it's kind of a blank canvas, so it's, especially when you are someone that likes to drive something a little bit more unique, it's kind of tough to see in a parking lot another car that looks exactly like yours. So I had to do stuff to it. So regardless of what my current financial situation is, I have this, and I'm very happy with it. I swear it's not copium, I'm actually very happy with this. And might as well show you guys around the car. So the 10th Gen SI Coupe was a car that I was always interested in ever since it came out. Obviously being a huge Honda fan, and this being the most aggressive, most sporty looking Civic ever, I was absolutely in love with it. This body style came out when I was in senior year of high school. The SI variant came out in my freshman year of college, so couldn't afford one at the time. Very similar to when the CRZ came out. So this is a very similar car to me, like the CRZ. It's a car I've really wanted, and another car that's been on my bucket list. So I'm actually very proud that I'm able to own it. And as far as downgrades of cars go from the Kona down, it's still a pretty cool car to have. So I specifically wanted a coupe because I thought it was the best looking version of the Civic. The car debuted with a coupe design, so I thought the aggressive front end looked the best with the coupe rear end and the two doors. I just thought the design worked better like this. I also am not a big fan of how the sedan looks, especially on the SI. The rear end looks a little bit awkward to me, how long the rear overhang is. I'm aware that there's two extra doors back there and more trunk space, but especially with a front wheel drive car, having such a rear overhang looked a little weird to me, so I wasn't a big fan of it. The hatchback I do like, but unfortunately the hatchback is not available as an SI, so that was a big factor. Also, I think the coupe just looks better than the hatchback also, so that was another factor for the coupe. The coupe also, in my opinion, has the coolest looking spoiler, the biggest spoiler. I do want to get kind of a lip extension for it eventually. I think that'll make it look really aggressive and really cool. But I really like how the spoiler looks. My only complaint about the spoiler is it's not very supported at the metal here, and it's a very commonly known issue. The Type R spoilers also do this. But when you shut the trunk, you'll see the spoiler kind of bounce around, and you can hear it kind of rattling, which is kind of cheap, but it wasn't an expensive car, so and it's not too difficult to fix that issue, so not a huge deal. I mentioned the car was in an accident before, so when I got it, the front grille was completely smashed. Also, the badges on it were some strange eBay badge. I don't know why they did that. So I had to replace the grille. I'll actually put pictures of how it looked when I got it. So originally I was thinking about going with the Pro Civic front grille, but my neighbor actually has this exact same SI coupe. So he got the Pro Civic grille and had the stock grille just laying around. So he gave it to me for free, and free is obviously better than not free. And it still has the chrome badge, still has the SI badge. It looks pretty good, and I'm very thankful for that. I did get the Pro Civic front lip though. I always thought the SI should have had something in the front end to kind of differentiate it between the regular Civic hatchbacks and the SIs. I think this lip is it looks pretty OEM plus, which is cool, and I think this is how the SI should have looked from the factory. You can also see I put the teeth back on because all of my cars need to have teeth on them. It was a little bit difficult at first to figure out where to place the teeth because it doesn't really have a consistent like mouth per se, but I think where I have it gives it a nice snarl looking face. So I'm pretty happy with how the teeth turned out for this as well. The whole front of the car also kind of looked like it was like sandblasted with gravel or something, like it was a rally car. So you can see a bunch of like rock chips and just chips all over it, and the headlights were also pretty worn out. So I got this vinyl overlay from Jet's Vinyl on Etsy. It looks pretty cool and provides a nice smooth surface for the headlight so it doesn't look as scuffed. And overall I think it's a pretty cool look. I got kind of the biohex, so it has kind of a rainbow film over it, and I think overall it looks pretty cool. I also put LED headlight bulbs in it because it's really stupid how in the US they gave us projector beams but gave us halogens. I don't know why Honda keeps doing that, but address that. The high beams are still halogens because I haven't got around to getting LEDs for that, and the blinkers are also still halogen, but the main headlights are LED now, so they actually work and aren't like candles. The previous owner had also blacked out all of this chrome trim, which is a very common thing Civic people do. But I actually wanted to bring the chrome back because the car is black. I didn't want the whole thing to look like murdered out. So I wanted some chrome accents on it. So I wanted the stock badge. I like the stock like chrome, like machine finish. I like the chrome strip on it. I think it kind of gives it a little flashy trim, which is nice. The rear badge I also had to replace. And instead of getting a Type R badge or something like that, I just went with the OEM badge, which I think looks much better. One weird thing though is they had this whole side vinyl wrapped, and then the rear silver trim vinyl wrapped, but then this driver's door was painted. So I don't know what that's about. I can only assume that they messed up the vinyl for that and just decided to paint it. So you can see the trim is perfect on all of them, but then on the driver's side you can see it's a bit scuffed because I did have to get that paint off somehow. And I think they sanded so I used brake cleaner for this, so the paint just kind of dissolved off. But I think that when they painted it, they had sanded it before painting it, so you can see it's really scuffed all the way through. So that's a bit unfortunate, but from a distance you can't really tell, and it's not too expensive of a part to replace. One thing the previous owner did that I actually do like though is the window tint they did. The front window and the rear window, the backlight and the sunroof. Sunroof might be actually stock tint, but the rest of the windows are tinted pretty dark, which looks cool. And also I kind of came to appreciate, I originally wasn't a big fan of window tint, but in the summer it's been getting really hot here, even in Michigan. So it's been nice to keep the sun out. Also, I developed a sun allergy this year, which, whatever, that's cool, I guess. That's why I've been carrying around that umbrella. But it helps with my sun allergy, so that works out as well. I want to get a little banner for the top here. I don't want to tint the whole windshield because it does get a little dark at night. So I want to get a little banner to kind of block out some of the sun, but I'm probably going to leave the windshield mostly untinted. One thing I didn't like about the 10th Gen Civic was how tall it looked, especially at the rear, because of how much it rakes up. So I had to lower it. It just had to happen. I went with D2 springs because, one, they were the lowest drop, and having put on coilovers on a car with adaptive suspension before, I didn't want to deal with all that. Also, they're very expensive. So I went with D2s because it was the lowest drop for springs, and also it happens to be the cheapest. So that worked out really well. It looks really cool. I like how it drives, I like how it rides. It's not too insanely low. You can see there's still plenty of clearance down there to get like a low profile jack in. It is Michigan, so the roads here aren't the greatest. And you basically can't drive a slammed car here unless it's on bags. So this, I think, is perfect. Also, to get the rear to not have excessive camber, I have white line rear camber arms, which were really annoying to put in, but I think well worth it. The car stock was also insanely quiet. Sometimes it felt like I was driving an electric car, how quiet it was, especially coming from my other car, my old cars. The Kona was very loud. The CRZ had an exhaust on it, so that was pretty loud. And going back to a car with stock exhaust was just, I couldn't do it. So went and put on the Gritty DDR exhaust. I think it looks the best and sounds pretty good. It gets a little bit droney sometimes, but not too bad, and I think it's well worth it. It's definitely way better than their Supreme SPs, which look like nut sacks under the car. So definitely the superior exhaust. And I'll get a quick little clip here. I also put this headlight overlay vinyl. I think it gives it a way more uniform look, and I think it looks super cool. There's a little slit back here, so you'll still have a reverse light. And another little minor changes I made. I cut out some vinyl for the reflectors. They're little hearts and look really cute. The side marker lights here are also blacked out. It came with these. They're not my favorite ones, but it I think looks still way better than the stock orange ones. So, and they were free. So again, free is better than not free. I also got new tires. These are the Continental Extreme Contact Sports. They were on like a clearance sale because I guess they're moving on to a newer version of these tires. So I got them for pretty cheap, which I'm very happy about. The car came with winter tires, came with Blizzaks, which the dealer tried to convince me were all-weather tires. It says snow tire on them. Also, I'm literally an engineer. Don't gaslight me like that. You can't do that. But other than that, on the outside there is absolutely nothing else that stands out about it. Absolutely nothing else. It's just a regular Civic Si. I'm totally matching with my car. So the livery was probably something that some of you guys were looking at the whole time and wondering how it came about. And basically, I met a friend that does vinyl work, and he wanted to do something fun for a local car event that happens here every year. Basically to give all the cars like fun liveries, kind of joke liveries. And because my car is black, originally I was supposed to be the Jimmy John's car, but I didn't really want to potentially show up to engineering job interviews in a Jimmy John's car. So I thought, while we're doing the livery anyway, might as well get something that I wouldn't mind keeping on the car and would actually enjoy. So the design for the livery is something I came up with, just mocked up on Forza. Asked my friend how long it would take. He estimated around 3 to 4 hours, which if everything went to plan, that's probably how long it would have taken. But it didn't take 3 to 4 hours. It took almost 20 hours to do this because we had to redo a bunch of stuff, especially that chrome vinyl you see. It was his first time working with this chrome vinyl, and basically we learned a lot of things about it, of just like how to apply it and what to do and what not to do. Like for example, we learned the hard way that you should not apply it directly to your paint because it will fuck up your paint. So that's a little bit unfortunate. So we had to take everything off and redo everything, back everything with just like regular non-chrome vinyl. So basically had to do the whole thing like 2 or 3 times, which is why it took so long. And there's just also a lot of layers to this. Just this piece right here is like 3 layers. The Kurumi face here is also multiple layers. All the little parts are all the different colors are different layers. There's definitely easier ways to do this, like printing everything. But with the equipment that he had, this was the easiest and cheapest way he could do it. But I'm really happy with how the livery turned out. I love the stripe. I love the chrome, how flashy it is. I think it looks super cool. Had to get a Anti My Melody sticker on there because I thought it fit the theme of Kurumi a little bit more. On the back here, you also see the little Kurumi decal on the back. It's really cute. I really like it. I'm really thankful that he did it for me. I also added some other stickers. Like this was a design that another one of my friends made. He does like renders and like art on Instagram, and that looks super cool. Some other stickers. Had to get a Chromify the World kind of logo for the center, because perfect timing of when I started, when we did this is Sanrio was actually doing like a whole like drop, merch drop with like Forever 21, Hot Topic. Bunch of places have like bunch of Sanrio merch right now and collabs. So it almost looks like a sponsored thing, and I wish it was a sponsored thing. And every time I show up to the mall with this car, people absolutely love it. Some other stickers I got. And we've looked at the outside of the car long enough, so let's take a peek on the inside. Moving on to the inside, you see my little Chromie pillow there. We have Gloomy Bear strapped in the back. Got the shift knob I got at Etsy, along with the shift boot I got at Etsy. It looks really nice. I think this is a nice combo. Some more stickers. So of course, being an SI, I'm back into having a manual transmission, and the stock shifter was actually something I was really unhappy with. I thought it was really sloppy. It just didn't feel good. So I found a really good deal on a used hybrid racing short shifter. So managed to pick that up. I ordered a used one, but they ended up sending me a brand new one for whatever reason. So that was super cool. Unfortunately, there's no e-brake, like manual e-brake here. It is a switch like a lot of modern Hondas have. But it does have the sport button, which activates the adaptive dampers to be stiffer. Also changes your throttle input, throttle response. Also has a brake hold button there to make up for the fact you don't have an e-brake you can hold on hills. And I'm not as mad as I thought I would be of not having a manual handbrake because of this massive and very, very useful center console. So other than the cheap Spirit Halloween-esque fabric that's all over this car, I do actually really, really love the center console. This cup holder holds drinks nicely. It also comes out if you need. Slides back. You can fit a whole 2-liter bottle in here. Nice little USB charge port. Has a divider in there. This armrest also comes forward and back. Also lifts up. There's a nice little coin tray or whatever you need. Very, very deep. And it's actually deep enough for me to fit my whole purse in there, which is super nice. And I can still, oops, get that in there. Shut the lid. Everything fits. So I don't have to like carry it on my lap or put it on the other seat like I used to have to with my other cars. So that's actually super useful and super cool. I really, really love the center console. You'll notice my parts here are kind of sticky. They don't slide super easily, and that's because the previous owner, I don't know what they did, but the whole interior of here was like full of hair and sticky stuff. That was really gross. The whole interior was actually super, super gross when I got it. It also smelled really bad. So the very, very first thing I actually did was give this whole thing a nice clean on the inside and just bomb it with air fresheners. Because, I don't know, it just was super stinky. I'm a big fan of the straight pipes on YouTube, so of course we gotta do the visor test. And it does pass. On the mirror here, I added a little sticker I thought was kind of cute. And then in this visor, we got some ass and also passenger princess sticker. The sunroof is also super nice. Though unfortunately, the only time I can ever use it is at night because I will roast like a turkey. I also changed all the interior lights to LEDs. I also love how the SI seats look. And I actually sat in a 11th Gen SI and they look just like this, but they're actually a little bit bigger and wider. I actually like these a little bit better because they are a bit smaller and I'm not as wide of a person. So I prefer these. These are a lot more comfortable for me. And also, they're heated. But some of the reason I wanted specifically to get a 2019 SI is the 2020s get red in these parts, which I thought was a little bit too much. I wasn't a big fan of that. Also, they get different gearing, which makes it more aggressive acceleration wise, but does affect MPGs a little bit. So I preferred the old gearing. So another reason I wanted a 19 instead of a 17 or 18 was because you get the updated head unit with the volume knob and then also the fan buttons. You still get the climate control shortcut button here, but you do get the fan buttons here, so you don't have to pull up the climate control. You can just up or lower your fan speed without having to do all that. So that's super nice. Little nice, a small creature comfort, but one I definitely wanted. So that was an overview of my 2019 Honda Civic Si Coupe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And hopefully this car sticks around longer than some of my other cars. I think if anything, adult life and just like finances and responsibilities and stuff is kind of going to start to force me to keep cars around longer anyway. So I'm not too concerned about that. Also, I've made my mistakes and I've learned from them. And I'm really happy with this car. Whatever complaints I have about it are very, very minor and just not even that big of a deal. Just nitpicking at that point. The CRZ, of course, is a more unique looking car and much more rare car, but I think this still looks really cool. And the Kona was a much more high performing car, but I love the gas mileage this thing gets and still peppy enough. So very happy with it. I love how it looks. I love how it drives. It's very practical while still looking really cool. Couldn't really ask for much more. So like I said before, I don't really post too often on this channel, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And unlike my Kona, hopefully it sticks around for more than a couple videos. So with that said, I thank everyone for watching and I'll see everyone next time. Bye.